What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Movie Talks, the only podcast you need for your movie news, movie reviews, and more. Episode 99. So next week is the 100 special. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got Longlegs, kind of like our newest serial killer, Nicolas Cage in Longlegs. There's a lot of
Yep.
long legs. It's false advertising because he's got normal sized legs, but we'll get into that. Fly Me to the Moon, which is the newest romantic comedy starring Channing Tatum and Scarlett Johansson, and Maxine, which I didn't realize until you told me that it was a end of a trilogy of the
hmm
Pearl X and now obviously Maxine. So we'll tell you about those ones. Very, very, very exciting.
We sure will.
Guess what
Oops, my
else?
background hasn't changed. Sorry, keep going.
Guess what? Deadpool and Wolverine trailer is absolutely getting pumped now, so they're getting
Of
very,
course it
very
is.
close to the new release. So obviously, there's more and more, and EB Games and everyone is pushing merch. So if you want to get your Deadpool merchandise, now is the time, or you wait until the movie's been out a while and you get it on discount. So up to you. We have Andrew Scott set to lead a World War II D-Day movie. So there's a new D-Day, well, World War II movie coming out, which,
Okay.
surprise, surprise. The new
I'm,
Alien,
I'm so surprised they're still making World War One, World War Two movies. Like, what the fuck? What else is there to say?
I don't know, people are real fascinated with it still though. It's
Mm.
pretty big. It's pretty big. We've
Pretty
gotten
pig. I mean, it's a
it
world
was,
war.
it was a big event. We- We've got the new Alien Romulus trailer is out now, so we get to see face huggers and chest busters go berserk. So who knows what that's going to be like? Who knows? I hope it's good. I hope they revive the aliens. 'Cause the new,
I doubt it.
no, but the newest ones have been average. We've got Ralph Fiennes, the guy, the evil guy from The Good Place. You know who I'm talking about. He was like the
The evil guy.
yeah,
Oh, the one who played Sean.
yeah,
Yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So starring in a new Conclave trailer, which is another religious horror. So
Okay.
fun times.
Another religious
Beetlejuice.
horror. Holy how fucking many we get of them. It's crazy.
hmm They're the new ones. We've got Beetlejuice, so that's getting very, very
hmm
close. And big new trailers coming out. Glenn Powell is everywhere. He's currently in Twisters, and he was
Yep.
earlier in the year. Anyone but you. He's now looking to start in the Backdraft remake. So he'll be a
Oh, what?
fire. He'll be a
Backdraft.
yeah, he'll be a firefighter.
Oh, okay. I've never
hmm
heard of Backdraft.
Yep. We've got the Russo brothers in early talks to direct Avengers 5 and Secret Wars. So they're
Avengers 5.
yep. This is gonna be
Is there not
another.
already 5? There's 4. I feel
Uh,
like there's at least 5.
I'm not sure they're including like Endgame and stuff because they're not technically the Avengers. It was like the whole cinematic universe.
They're called, they're literally called Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War and stuff.
Well, it's the Avengers 5 and the
Maybe
Avengers
there is only
sequel.
4. I have no idea. To me, it
Yep.
feels like there's 20, but
And then we've got Megan with a 3, 2.0 begins shooting.
Megan with a
And
3.
Megan with a 3. That's it. That's it for our movie news. A little bit of a short one. Obviously, you've got your holiday specials. You got Despicable Me and what was the other one? Inside Out 2, currently in the movies. And
Sure.
there's not much coming until we get like Deadpool and stuff that are going to be hitting the what's it called the theoretical. They're coming to the movies near you. Whatever. Move on. Let's get into
Whatever,
long.
move on.
Let's get into Long Legs, which is out now. It
Mhm.
is. You've been excited for this one. You've been
Yeah,
sitting
well,
down.
the
Mm,
advertising was really interesting. People
okay.
like they intentionally kept it super mysterious and everyone was like, "Well, what the fuck's this movie?" Like, there's a lot of talk around it, and
Okay.
yeah, I
I
feel like it was.
I hadn't heard of it until you were like, I want to watch this one. I'm like, yeah, all right. And I was like,
All right.
oh, Nicolas Cage. It could be
Yeah.
interesting. Interesting. I don't know. You never quite know. It's either a hidden gem or it's absolutely
Especially with
bonkers.
Cage.
So this is in pursuit of a serial killer. An FBI agent uncovers a series of occult clues that she must solve to end his terrifying killing spree. Bom, 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 bom. So
Yep.
this is starring Maliki Monroe. I have no idea how to say her first name. She is
I don't know either. Let me have a look because I haven't got it up yet.
she is Agent Lee Hawker. So she is our FBI agent who is a psychic, and it's
Hmm.
the whole thing of her being a psychic is really odd because no one really believes her. It's like, oh,
Well,
okay.
I thought it was the opposite. I thought it was interesting that in this world,
Mm,
everyone sort of believes her.
I
It's
think,
like she's tested early in the piece to see if she's like what her abilities are like and how capable she is as a psychic and stuff.
yeah, but it was like the whole time they were like, oh, okay, we kind of believe you, but we're not going to fully act on it. Like even the opening scene when she's like, "Oh, he's here. Don't go in there," and he
Yeah,
goes,
the opening scene. Yeah, but that was early in the piece where she hadn't really fully explored her powers and stuff yet. I feel like I don't know. After that, I felt like everyone pretty much went with her whims.
"Yeah." It was like those people who have good intuition and stuff. That's what I felt like it was. It's just it
Right.
wasn't like, "Oh, okay, we're going to take you as your like your gospel word or whatever." It was just like, "Yep, cool. You got a hunch. You've turned out correct previously, and then we'll sort of trust you as we go." But that's how I saw it. I didn't see her like the all powerful being of like, yep, she's psychic, she knows everything.
Yeah. Well, I said she's half psychic. So, better half psychic than not at all thing.
Yeah,
But
which was interesting.
I felt like they believed her most of the time anyway. But
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
know. Maybe not. Look, I'm not gonna argue the fucking point. It's yeah. I'm tired. Sorry, keep going.
What?
I'm not switched on. I'm so tired. I'm sorry. I'm
Um,
like, I'm not gonna argue many points today because I don't have it in me.
yeah, right. Well, you're
It's a
running on
mess.
4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as we go along, we are looking for a serial killer. The serial killer takes children, and it turns out there's a there's a whole mystery behind it. He's being able to bring the devil into the homes with some dolls.
I don't think they take children, do they? That the family a family dies.
The family dies. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's alluded to him taking people. There was a whole like subplot kind of thing around it. That's what I read into it.
Taking people. I don't think okay. Well again, I'm not gonna argue the point because I don't think anyone was taken. I thought they were all besides the mother plot twist, but I don't know. I thought they all just died. Isn't that what happened?
Yeah, everyone eventually died, but
So who was taken?
well, he popped up as with her and was taking pictures, which then was conveniently she had the pictures. I was like, this is the guy. And then you've got each of the children were like met with the bloke, and then he gave him a doll, and then the mother was like the ringleader to be able to get in, which seemed very very convenient. That all revolved around one person.
As in all revolved around the mother.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I don't understand.
what?
I don't understand what you mean. That's not really what happened. Like,
What do you mean?
what do you mean it all revolved around the mother? The mother was she was taking the doll around people's houses.
Yeah, but then to have the child all of a sudden become an FBI agent and then be half psychic, it just everything seemed very convenient in this very slow burn.
Yeah. Okay. I
Like
guess
it,
the fact that yeah, the leading investigator in the case, his mother was yeah, of course, but yeah, I guess that part was convenient.
yeah, like I'm just, I guess my point I'm trying to get across is everything seemed to be really convenient for them to wrap it up nicely, where it was like everyone was connected in terms of the mother was the person, the ringleader, being able to get everything in. Old
Mhm.
Longlegs, who didn't really have his normal, he just had normal sized legs. And then he was like, I'm making these possessed dolls that will go in and then kill everybody. And then the leading investigator, who was half psychic, was able to piece it all together because she was all connected. It seemed really odd in terms of it was all connected in a very bizarre way. Like I would have preferred it
Yeah,
to just
the
be,
convenient part, I guess, is yeah, you're right. Like, what are the odds that the person whose mother was involved ended up being the main investigating FBI agent? But I guess that's
yeah,
where the paranormal part comes in because it's like it's not a coincidence if it's what's the word like it's not coincidence if it's fated, I suppose. Like there's a supernatural element to all of this. Longlegs himself is pretty much the devil. The fact that there's this doll that goes into houses and possesses the family to murder each other. Like there's it's not it's supernatural, it's not coincidence, I guess. Like it's all the world is connected because it's magic, I guess. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That's how I
okay,
saw it.
yeah. I don't know. It was after the first opening scene where old mate was murdered. I was like, oh, this could be real interesting. And then it was very, I found it slow. It is a slow burn thriller horror.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't till like the last half an hour where it all sort of like was piecing together. And then the ending, I was like, I don't know that I like that it's all connected. Like it
I think it
was,
has to be. Like I think if it was like you look at Seven, to me this was like had elements of Seven, had elements of Silence of the Lambs. Um like in Silence of the Lambs, they're not connected, but they become connected because of the characters become intertwined.
mhm.
Like they're good guys now bad guys. Their stories become intertwined. That there's always going to be some level of connection there. But yeah, look, I to me, I'm kind of glad that it was all connected the way that it was because the way the story built itself kind of needed to be like she needed to be connected in order for me to be like, well, that's a fair payoff. Like if there wasn't that connection, if it was just like, oh, Steve down the road, and there was no like connection between our main character and the actual murders, I'll be a little let down because if it's just Steve and it's just like, oh, this random guy is involved, like it would have felt hollow to me. I think it needed to have a bigger payoff how it built itself.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I was
I
okay with it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I was a little bit, I don't know, off put with it because I like the ideas behind serial killers. Like when you find out why they do things, it's like not like Criminal Minds where it's always like, oh, they do it for like sexual gratification or whatever.
Yeah,
Or,
yeah,
but I don't know. I felt like he was deranged enough that he could have just been like super deranged.
yeah. But again, there's a supernatural element. Like he's the devil.
Yeah.
Like it's not like I'm not saying he's evil. He's the devil, but like literally, his character is the devil
Yeah.
incarnate. Um, he's building dolls that possess families. So there's a level of like, you know, you sort of you take it for what it is because it's magic. I don't know.
Yeah. In the
I
reveal
was
when they
okay
were
with it.
like, when she's explaining it and she's like, he was in the dolls. I literally thought it was almost like a life-size doll and he was jumping out. And then
Oh, like a Trojan horse sort of thing.
yeah, that's what I thought to begin
Right,
with.
right.
And
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
that could have been cool. It could have been really cool. Him just like
True.
let
But
it
then
jump
you
out.
see the only thing that like that didn't the reason why I didn't think that was literal is because you see a family get killed at one point, and like it's the dad of the house killing his family.
Yeah,
Like there's like a level of possession.
yeah. Like
I guess that's fair.
you're meant to say Marco. That could have been funny.
Follow.
Yeah, that's well. Same game.
Yeah, same. Yeah, same game. To me, where this
Uh
fell a little short was like I feel like all that was okay, but where it fell short was just like it felt like other things, but not as good. Like I said before, it felt like Silence of the Lambs. It felt like Seven. Like it was that we're following one character investigate a plot. That plot ended up being intertwined with that character's life. Um, so it felt like other things, but not as good as anything else I've seen. Like there was nothing unique about this, and the way the advertising is going crazy about it. Like I keep seeing that this is the scariest movie of the decade. I don't think it's scary at all. Like there is a level of thriller to it, but it's not a fucking horror. Like
no.
advertising's gone a bit crazy for this thing.
I mean they probably jumped onto it and they were like, oh, this is better than most of the other stuff that's come out this year. So they're like, here we go.
Yeah, but I'd even say that like I don't know, Metal Gear Rising. um, Jesus Christ, what's it called?
Evil Dead.
Evil Dead Rise. Thank you. I'd even say that was scarier than this.
Yeah.
And that's this decade. Like to say this is the scariest movie of the decade is insane, but it's whatever. It's
Yeah.
advertising.
I thought Nicolas Cage as Longlegs was actually pretty creepy.
It was great. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that it's a perfect role for him because he can go fucking bananas and be bizarre Cage that we know and love. But it suits
Even
the character. Like he was unhinged as fuck.
all right. Even when Nicolas Cage is trying to be a good guy, he's a bit creepy though.
Yeah. Comes across that way. I always felt like him in Con Air was a little like this guy feels dangerous, even though he's meant to be the good guy and totally safe and all that crap.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. He was strange in this, but he was good strange in this. It was he made me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. I didn't mind it. I just got a little bit bored during the after the opening and until the reveal. Like it was slow.
Mm.
Like there were
Yeah, it is a
elements.
slower burn, and it's build, 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 and then you pretty much got the entire reveal in 10 minutes. Like the
Mm,
last 10 minutes is just like a wave of information to tie things up and leave a bit of a loose end. And yeah, I find it boring because it was still an hour and a half. It didn't to me it didn't feel long because like it's sort of it's building, I suppose, to being revealed what's going on. Uh, but yeah, I don't find it boring personally. But I guess I can see where you're coming from. Like
yeah.
it's slow. It is definitely slower than action comedies and action horrors that we've been getting recently.
Yeah. I don't know. There was elements that I liked, like the occult stuff and all of a sudden, but then it was like convenient that she was like, oh, I'd deciphered this. And it's like, yeah, okay. Okay.
Yeah, there's always a level of plot convenience when it comes to characters with omniscience or psychic abilities or anything.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, well, that's lazy. That's how it's like the whole fight at Madam Web at the end when
Mhm.
she can see everything happening before it happens. Like it just becomes there's no stakes because the character can do anything.
But Madam Web was shocking.
Oh yeah,
That's
that's
that's the
definitely going in
difference.
my bottom 10 next week. I think it's horrible.
Yeah. So like it wasn't bad, but it did not live up the hype. I reckon it would have been better if he didn't come into it with all this hype around it.
I agree. Yeah, I think that definitely hurt it because it ended up being pretty generic and ended up being things I've already seen. When
Mm,
it's very disappointing because like I wouldn't say I was excited for this, but the way that the advertising was played out and the way that people were talking about it, like amongst the you know film community and stuff, this was meant to be a big thing, and then it came out, and everyone's like, oh, I guess it's okay. Like
Yeah.
You know, it's okay. I wouldn't say it's a bad movie, but there's plenty with it that's not necessarily a good movie either.
Where like Black Phone, I really enjoyed Black Phone, and that got this type of hype.
Still haven't seen it, sadly, but yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So
you've said yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Like Nicolas Cage, great performance.
Hmm.
Like the shot, it looks pretty good. It's like dark, dreary. The cinematography is not too bad. It's just
Yeah,
I found it a bit slow and a bit too convenient. But
yeah, I can see the convenience part for sure.
but
But I
like
think
it wasn't bad.
you go
Wasn't
on.
bad. Was just it wasn't bad. It wasn't like super good. Just
Yeah,
wasn't.
I still think it's good. Like I'm giving it 3.5. Like I don't think it's a bad movie. It's just not like this was playing out to be the best movie of the fucking year. Like everyone was losing their shit over it.
Yeah, it's not
And
that.
no, smart advertising. They got people excited with not much because the whole advertising was like, "What the fuck is this movie?" Like
Hmm.
you didn't know anything was happening. They kind of did what they did in Seven, where Nicolas Cage you didn't get to see him until the movie was actually out. Like no one really knew who was in it. Well, we knew he was in it, but no one really knew what role he had played until it coming out, like Kevin Spacey in Seven.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, it's okay. It's good. I don't. Yeah, it's good. I wouldn't say it's okay. Okay is like a 2.5. It's a 3.5. It's good. I think it's good.
okay, yeah. How about a three?
Character, you're at 3. Yeah, sure. That's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah. Like it's worth a three. It just wasn't. I don't know. The hype and the bit of the slow burn. Slow burns aren't my type of thing, unless it's like
Definitely not.
unless the payoff is very, very good.
Hmm.
Or like slow burns when it's like so confusing. You're like, what is happening here? And then it all ties together at the end.
Yeah, I feel like that was how this works
Yeah, but
to me anyway.
I wasn't like super confused the whole way through though. I was just sitting there watching her
Mm,
piece things together. Well,
yeah, I suppose it wasn't real. Like, what the fuck is happening?
yeah,
But it's still like my curiosity was how how he was doing it and how things were working and like not. I didn't really I didn't really think of the supernatural element until it was told to me.
okay.
And like I guess it makes sense because, she's psychic and there's a level of like I said earlier, there's a level of like magic to it,
Yeah,
supernaturalness.
yeah,
I don't really think that he would have the actual bad guy would have powers and stuff, but it all made sense, I feel like in the end.
yeah,
Um you mentioned before the main character, like she can get I don't know, kind of hard to like at times. Like she seems really fragile and church mouse for an FBI agent,
yeah,
but she was picked for her psychic abilities, I guess. So
yeah.
I don't know. She didn't really come across like an FBI agent at times.
She was very dull majority of the time.
Hmm. For sure.
Not super likable. Oh well.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Nicholas Cage did well. He's coming into form recently.
I wonder what his next role will be. Who knows? Who
Yeah, right.
knows?
Let's see what IMDb says.
He's never lived up to the Con Air after Con Air. It's all been an interesting ride for old Cage.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
so done some very good and bad.
like Ghost Rider. Oh my God, Ghost
Ghost Rider
Rider.
was horrible. One of the worst things he's done.
And then what else did he have? It was that I can't. I'm trying to remember when Wicker Man was. I don't remember if that was
Oh
before
yeah,
or after.
before right?
Then
He did Kick Ass. Kick Ass was good.
yeah,
I liked him in that.
what's
National
the
Treasure,
what's the recent one that we saw him in?
Dream
Uh,
Scenario,
yeah, and the vampire one.
Renfield.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
yeah,
Which
yeah,
to me was the disappointment with that was that he wasn't in it enough.
yeah. Yeah. Like at this point, you just kind of got to let him go. Just see
Yeah,
what happens.
yeah. But he's being cast well, I think now. Like I said before, this is perfect for him because he gets to be ridiculous Cage, but he gets to do it in a way that is good.
Yeah. And
Like him being unhinged is part of the point.
people have realized that he's not going to be a superstar actor. They're coming to
Yeah,
see.
I think he's been cast well recently.
People are there to see Nicolas Cage be bonkers Nicolas Cage.
Hmm. But then
Yeah.
Dream Scenario, he's like super down to earth and really like solid, believable character.
Yeah, but that was still like bonkers Nicolas Cage though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, was it bonkers? He wasn't doing like he is in this, where he's
No, but
yelling and
he still had the elements of like weird, creepy Nicolas Cage. He wasn't like
in Dream Scenario.
yeah, he was like the professor that all of a sudden came into like fame and then he was like Nicolas Cage
Yeah, but he
style.
still wasn't like yelling and making high pitched sounds. And I feel like his portrayal in this versus his portrayal in Dream Scenario is like a total different end of the spectrum. He's so like quiet and reserved in
Yeah.
Dream Scenario.
He still had his weird Nicolas Cage vibes though.
Yeah, I don't agree at all. I think it's completely different.
Uh, uh, uh. Well then let's jump into our Fly Me to the Moon, our
Let's.
newest romantic comedy. So I don't really see where the comedy side on this one comes in, but like it was a very
Yeah, it wasn't a lot.
very low on the comedy side, but well, I guess
There's
we'll
some
see.
moments,
Yeah,
especially with what was his name? The director, like the director character.
yeah, but
Like
that
he was
was
pretty fun.
very few and far between for a 2 hours and 12 minute film.
And even like the romance part, that wasn't like the main plot at all.
No, no, this was kind of like a biopic of faking the moon landing.
Yeah, even though this is not based on a true story.
Gee, man, did we really go to the moon?
That's not the point.
I just wanted you to buy
I know.
it.
I knew that when we watched this, I'm like, oh, Ryan's gonna mention some bullshit about we didn't go to the moon and the point of the movie.
Well then,
But no, it's not a true story. Like this doesn't follow any real people and real characters and real stories.
no, it just takes a real life fake moon landing and puts it into a movie setting.
Sure thing.
It's got nothing.
No, I don't have the
Marketing,
energy to fight with you on dumb shit like that.
marketing, Mavin. Kelly Jones wreaks havoc on launch director Cole Davis' already difficult task. When the White House deems the mission too important to fail, the countdown truly begins. Boom,
Hmm.
boom, boom. So this is set back in 1960s, where
Yep.
it's a very male dominated world where our main lady Kelly Jones is the strong independent woman fighting her way into the advertising realm, and we get to see many examples of her taking charge and being able to outsmart, outwit, and outplay all the head honchos of different marketing schemes, which gets set very early on. Her faking a pregnancy
Yep.
and knowing all the cars and everything about advertising seatbelts, etc.,
Mhm.
which then gets her noticed by Woody Harrelson. I love Woody Harrelson. I reckon he's
Yeah,
great.
it's good. Yeah.
And he is in charge of, well, is the right hand man for the president and gets thrown, well, gets Kelly into the advertising side for NASA, which then
Yep.
throws us into this very bizarre romantic comedy where Kelly and Cole meet. And Cole is Channing Tatum, who is in charge of the NASA program about getting him to the moon, Apollo 11. And Ray Romano, which I was surprised to see him in this. I struggle to
Yeah.
see him as anything else besides Ray.
Oh,
Like
really? I
he's
never really watched Everyone Loves Raymond, so
no,
he was in The Irishman a few years ago
yeah,
as well. Like I think he's doing pretty well.
yeah. I just struggle to see him as anything but Ray. Like I used to watch
Right.
Ray every now and again, and then
I see now.
there was like a crossover with King of Queens and Everyone Loves Raymond where he like came
Right.
across. I think it's his voice. Like his voice is very unique,
It's unique. Yeah, that's for sure.
and I see him as Ray. But everything revolves around Channing, well, Cole getting organized and trying to focus on getting Apollo 11 up into the moon, etc. And then Kelly in there trying to advertise it and her doing her actions, ask for well, not even ask for forgiveness. She's will do whatever she can to make sure that her role is
Hmm.
successful. And
Yeah,
then,
she at the end she describes herself as a con artist. Like her whole thing is that she's really good at lying and she knows how to manipulate people to get what she wants. And
yep,
she plays up the fact that women are meant to be dumb and women are meant to be inferior. She sort of plays into that to get what she wants.
yep, 100%.
Which
I
is a
found
smart character. It's kind of like the moments in this where she kind of feels like a Sherlock kind of character. Like she's the smartest person in the room and, you know,
like all
knows
the
how
time.
to, yeah, pretty much always. Um, there's a level of ridiculousness to her character. Like she's on this pedestal that no one else can match. But, she kind of needs to be like, if you're going to have a character who is like the best in the business and she's been hired by NASA to quote unquote sell the moon, she needs to be insane. So,
Yeah, yeah,
there needs to be a level of ridiculousness to her.
yeah. Like I found her quite reasonably likable considering she's
Yeah,
meant to be the Sherlock character.
definitely.
I
And
don't.
I like Scarlett Johansson too, so
Yeah,
it's fine.
true. I don't know who was up with costume designs, but Cole, pretty much every scene, especially when he was like out and about or walking around the NASA place, he looked like he was dressed to be in an episode of Star Trek.
Is that just the 60s though?
I don't know. It seemed weird, like he was like, especially with yellow. I was like, are you part of Star Trek? Like, what's happening here?
Okay, I just saw it as the aesthetic
Okay,
like of the time. I mean, Star Trek was did come out in the 60s, right? So I guess they're
yeah,
all part and parcel. 60s, 70s. I actually don't know. I'm not well versed in the Star Trek world or the 1960s aesthetic.
yeah. I
I thought it
don't
was
know.
just a time thing, but
It
I'm not
just
sure.
it looked too much like the Star Trek uniform. No, if you had a little
Okay,
badge on it, I was like, whoa, you're
like a turtleneck sort of thing.
yeah, like beam me up, Scotty. I was like, whoa,
Mm,
okay, that was a bit weird,
if you
but
say so.
okay,
I'm not sure.
yeah.
I wasn't really
So
paying close attention to his attire.
okay, there was just a few shots. I was like, all right, away we go. But as we pretty much just get lots of building Scarlett Johansson doing whatever she can to sell the moon, and then Channing Tatum or Cole being like, "No, you can't do this." Like it's
Mm,
like she hires actors to play the actual people, and like there's just continual building of her like getting further and further into
yeah.
selling the moon. I found
And it
the
splits off into a almost like second plot when they start to introduce the fact she has to fake the moon landing.
yeah,
This whole second that's plot within a plot that sort of becomes the main plot at the end.
yeah, and then there was a forced little bit of humor with the cat. I was like, why does this cat keep coming up? Because it was meant to be like bad
Yeah,
omen. I was like, oh, okay, this is
yeah, I don't like anything with a cat as well. Like
uh,
anything that really it felt shoehorned.
yeah, it was a bit bizarre, but like it
Hmm.
provided maybe like a smirk where they were faking the moon landing and the cat ran out and they're like, come here.
Yeah, I hate animals and kids in movies. I feel like are such an easy cop out for anything,
Yeah,
and it lets you get away with crap.
I mean,
It's just lazy.
the cat's in the
But
poster too.
oh, is it really?
Hmm.
Wow.
Yep. So they've got the moon, Channing Tatum, Scarlett Johansson, title, the the faked moon landing with the cat running across.
Well, even this poster on IMDb has a cat at the bottom next
Yeah,
to Scott Hansen's leg.
yeah.
Yeah, right. I didn't
I didn't
realize the
really
cat was that significant. Jesus.
know. Guess it's a bad omen, but like there was some smirk moments. There wasn't like many super laugh out loud kind of moments. Like there
Yeah.
wasn't
You had two
super.
characters that were like the nerdy young prodigies who like, oh, they don't know how to talk to people, but they've got a heart of gold, and they still
Yeah,
felt too charismatic for that character as well. Like I mentioned earlier, the director character, played by Jim Rash, who is just funny in everything he does. But he plays this like eccentric gay director, um, who's like comes across real strange in this universe. Because even like Channing Tatum, who is funniest when he's unhinged, like he's a really good comedian. And in this, he's such like a straight and narrow, boring character, which I think is a complete waste of having Channing Tatum in a movie.
well,
Um, so you have a character like Jim Rash come in who just is such a caricature of a character. It's weird. He feels really strange next to everybody else. And Ray Romano as well. Ray Romano is like he's pretty funny. I think his delivery is really on point. And even in like Irishman, when he's playing a real serious like lawyer character, he still has some really funny line deliveries which suit him so well. But in this, he had like nothing to do, and yeah, there's a lot of strangeness in this.
yeah, like I agree. He was everything was a little bit out of place. Like there wasn't super many over the top characters. Everyone was super serious, super like focused on their jobs. Unlike like Space Cadet, which was like the polar opposite, where like everyone
Yeah,
was ridiculous.
no one was believable. Yeah,
Where
and
yeah,
both
like
were quote unquote comedies, whereas
yeah,
like neither of them were funny because they were so yeah true.
yeah. So it was like the polar opposite. And if you're gonna portray this as a romantic comedy, I didn't really feel like the romantic side was like really well like earned or
No,
deserved. Really, it was just like these two people are attractive. We're throwing them together,
pretty
and
much.
of course they need to be able to love each other.
Yeah. I even feel like I recently watched She's the Man again, one of my guilty pleasure movies. Um, Channing Tatum and Amanda Bynes in that. I feel like there's more fucking like connection and more romance between the characters.
Yeah,
Like these characters felt like chalk and cheese, and they didn't, like you said, they didn't feel earned. Like they just felt like they were forced together because the story wanted them to. It didn't feel like there's any fucking connection between them, really.
no, and like we only really we see them together with their interactions where it's like you can't do that. Oh no, I'm doing this. No, you can't do that. And then
Yeah,
oh, what do you do? Do you like long walks on the beach? And then it was back to you can't do that. And then
yeah,
they were meant
very
to
much so.
have fallen in love. I was like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I know there's a
That's
level of like because I say so, because movie.
yeah, which was disappointing. Like I didn't I didn't hate the movie, didn't super enjoy the movie. Like it was
Yeah, I'll be
all
honest, this is better than I thought it was gonna be. I seeing romantic comedy was I was instantly like, "Ugh, okay, here we go. Like this is not. I wasn't excited for this at all, but I didn't hate it. I felt like it was paced relatively well. Um, while the comedy wasn't like balls to the wall funny the whole way through, there was still elements like there were sprinklings of funny moments. I just wouldn't call it a comedy. Like there are sprinklings of funny moments in Hunger Games as well. Like you know, a lot of movies have some funny moments, but doesn't necessarily comedy.
yeah.
Um,
The
but I felt like
directors,
there was enough tension to it. Like at the end with the whole like, oh, is it the real footage or is it the moon landing footage? Like all the fake footage.
yeah,
Um, there was some tension to it, and Scarlett Johansson got to throw a chair through a wall and through a window
yeah.
because
to get a TV and
Yeah,
oh,
there are parts.
and it was like, I'll deal with this. Like I had a
Mhm.
giggle, but I was like, how'd you get a police escort? Like I wouldn't have mind
Because
seeing
she's
her like
good.
bumbled her way through it. I was like, how'd you get there?
At that point, we've seen her fucking talk to anyone and get what she wants.
Yeah, but
So
that's
couldn't
I
you just see it?
don't know, that was a little bit far fetched, but I giggled at it. This is the
Yeah,
director's first real big thing. Looking at his
Greg Berlanti.
yeah, so he's been a producer on a number of things,
Hmm.
which includes Green Lantern, which is
Yeah, right.
bizarre. He's been on The Flash, Arrow, and then he's done the Broken Hearts Club, Life as We Know It, Political, Politic Animals, Love Simon, and then Fly Me to the Moon.
Political animals.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't really know any of these movies. I've heard of like Love Simon. I know of. I might even like seen trailers of it, but I never watched it.
yeah,
Um, but like directing wise, it was fine. Like it was again, it's pretty cookie cutter. Like there's nothing really special about it. It's not like there was any good, like any really good cinematography or anything. It was fine. You know,
yeah.
like
It
when
was
you watch a movie of this level with this many big actors and whatever, it's like I'm gonna be okay with it. Like as long as it's not boring or not cringy and gross. And
yeah.
it was fine.
I was expecting more though. I was expecting more from it.
I was expecting less, so I guess I was pleasantly surprised.
Okay. Like I
Maybe the
didn't hate
opposite.
it. Didn't hate it. Didn't love it.
Hmm.
But yeah, like it ticked along for a 2 hour movie. I was like, it didn't drag. It's like a three. Would I recommend it to people? Yeah, give it a look. Would I
Yeah.
say go see it at the cinema? Probably not. Like,
No, I wouldn't pay for this.
no. Like
I'm literally on three as well.
I'd be upset if I paid a ticket admission for it. Or if you
Yeah.
took
It's
like
pretty generic.
took your significant other, you'd be a little bit upset. Or if you went to gold class, I'd be like, oh, that's not worth the gold class ticket.
Oh god, no.
No. So
Like the director of this, sorry, the director, the cinematographer is Darius Wolski, who's the same guy who did like Napoleon, The
yeah,
Martian,
yeah, right.
um, Alien Covenant. Like he's done some big stuff and really knows what he's doing. Like he's a good director of photography. Uh, and this is real cookie cutter. Like there isn't much to this. Don't get me wrong, there are some good shots, but at this point, good shots are expected.
Yeah,
Like we're at a point now with movies that if you're not getting good shots, then you're getting bad shots. You know, there's no just okay anymore.
yeah. Yeah. But like it
Those sets are
was
pretty good. Like I think Timepiece is getting better and better. Like 60, it's pretty aesthetically pleasing 60s, and thought the dress, way everyone was dressed, and everything was pretty. Again, I don't know he's at the 60s, but I thought it was pretty good in terms of all that stuff. But yeah, it was a pretty generic movie with okay fucking story, I guess.
yeah, yeah.
Solid
Very,
three.
yeah.
Recommendable, but not worth paying for.
No. Well, then let's jump into our other timepiece, which is
Mm.
Maxine, which I didn't know was part of a
Several timepieces
trilogy.
actually. Sorry, because Longlegs is set in the 90s as well. Honey the
Yeah.
Moon set in the 60s and Maxine set in the 80s. So, but yes, it is part of a sequel. It is
Mm,
the third. It's the third chronologically as well as the third. Um, made.
yeah.
So I haven't seen Pearl. That's the one I haven't watched. But I watched. I started watching this, realized it was a sequel, stopped watching after about 15 minutes. I went and watched X, and then I watched this straight up. Like literally, the second I finished X, I started watching this. So,
Okay. Does it
um,
does it feel he's better watching X and
I
then
feel like
coming
it
into this?
provided more character context.
Yeah.
Um, like I feel like it helped a little bit with who Maxine was and what she's done in her past and stuff. But it wasn't necessarily like needed or anything.
Okay.
And in fact, it made me realize how much worse this movie is.
Okay.
But we'll get there.
Interesting. Because I haven't seen Pell or X.
Yeah, yeah,
X is on my list. It's on Netflix, and I've been meaning to watch
yeah,
it, just haven't got around to it.
yeah.
So,
X is decent. I liked X. I had a pretty good time with it. It's one of those movies I think will stick with me and tells enough of an interesting story.
okay,
Whereas
cool.
this, yeah, we'll get there with this,
Yeah.
but
So this is in 1980s Hollywood, an adult film star and aspiring actress, Maxine Minks, finally gets her big break, but as a mysterious killer stalks the starlets of Hollywood, a trail of blood threatens to reveal her sinister past. Bom, bom,
mm,
bom.
yeah,
Yep. So coming into this, I knew nothing. So I was just presented with who Maxine is at this present time. So it's you get enough information that she was involved in some adult film,
yep,
and then she wants to be famous and break it into becoming a actress on Hollywood.
mm-hmm,
So like easy enough to work out that she wants to be famous. She's in the acting role. I My first impression of her was I actually quite liked her, especially after
yeah,
she was like super confident, super like kind of charismatic to the
yeah,
point where like you those people that you know are good like sort of flaunt it. So she does her role.
yeah,
She's
for
like,
sure.
can you do the lines? Yeah, I don't need a script. And like does the script. And they're like, can you show us your boobs? Yeah, sure. And then she walks out and it's like, ha, sucked in. I've nailed it. You guys can all go
Yeah,
home.
yeah. Yo, bitches better go home. I just nailed that. Like, yeah, she's great.
Like
She's very likable.
I really enjoyed her. It was a great first impression.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the same actor in all three films?
Yeah, she plays Pearl and Maxine
Yep. Is it meant to be the
in
same character in each of them? Like is
no. In Maxine, sorry, in X, she plays Maxine Miller. In this, she plays Maxine Minks, which is the same character, but Maxine Minks is her like stage name, and she sort of adopts that persona also.
okay.
I think it's all part of her trauma in that as well from
Yeah.
X. And in X, one of the bad guys is a character called Pearl. Um, and X is set in the 70s, and the movie Pearl is set in, I think, like 1918 or something.
Okay.
And she plays Pearl in that. So she plays Pearl and Maxine different characters, but she also plays Pearl and Maxine in X. So she plays both. She plays both characters in X, but she plays them also both characters separately in Maxine and Pearl. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna have to watch them to fully understand that because you said the same names to me, and I was like, yep,
Fair enough.
that's it.
Point is, yes, Maxine in X and Maxine in Maxine are the same character. Yes, they're the same, and she plays them
Yep.
both.
Okay. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
we're following obviously Maxine and her trying to become famous. I found the probably first act quite interesting. The
Yeah,
second act, pretty average,
agreed.
and the ending or the climax, I was like, oh, okay,
It's
that's
fucking stupid. The
yeah,
way
I
it
was
built itself, and the fact that this was the end of a trilogy, like it was so shit. The third act was the biggest piece of shit. It was so disappointing. I just watched X, where it's a pretty tidy little film with a small cast in a small setting. Like X works really well because it's quite tidy. It's little. They don't go. It's too long. That's about it. But besides that, it's not a big deal. Whereas this whole third act is so shoehorned and ridiculous. You're literally dealing with one of the most prolific, fucking notorious serial killers of the 70s and 80s. Sorry, the Night Stalker, which is a real serial killer,
oh really?
and yeah, super interesting serial killer as well. Like the way that it's all in LA, and there's a documentary on Netflix you can watch.
Hmm.
It's pretty damn good. Um, but yeah, all about a real serial killer. Also, all the stuff here with her like dad and everything. Like, there's a lot to do with this character in this story, and then it's all just thrown out the window in the third act and becomes this like generic fucking action shooter for some reason. And they just try and shoehorn all these little stories together and they try and wrap things up in what they consider a tidy way. But at that point, they've just dug so many fucking holes they can't choose one to bury themselves in. Like the end is fucking bad.
It was odd. So
Very
like
disappointing.
the first act where she does the audition and then nails it, likable character, and then you get to see her like walking, getting followed by someone. You assume it's the serial killer, and then she turns the tides, and I was like, oh, I was like, whoa, okay, we're taking charge. To then the shock factor of getting him to strip naked and then stomping on his testicles for explosion.
Yeah,
I was like,
there's a lot of
whoa, okay.
that in this where they just went like for a gruesome factor, like a shock factor.
I mean, you've got the R rating, so you might as well go like balls to the walls with the kills.
Again, so did X.
X
I
did as
think I
well.
think balls walls with kills is fine. Like it's I think Final Destination style make the kills intriguing. You might as well don't hide things off camera. Um, but don't just give us shock for the sake of shock. Like it's lazy. I think.
Yeah, and then after that, after you get that likable scene and then the shock factor, then it came a little bit slow, a little bit boring in
Hmm.
the middle, and then you get obviously the serial killer doing the serial killer things to then the escalation where you get the big reveal that it was her father, bom, bom,
Yeah,
bom, who's in a cult and is a
he's like a cult leader, and all that's revealed in not the serial killer part, I guess, but like her dad being the like a cult leader and her being from that religious family and stuff. Like that's all revealed at the end of X.
okay. That's I was missing that info.
Yeah, I just feel like the payoff, like they tried being real clever and like, oh wow, look how well we've tied everything together, but they didn't really introduce anything new in this, besides the fact that it's a serial killer, I guess. But like, it doesn't really matter. Like, I felt like the whole father being involved and everything was unnecessary. Like, it was good to watch this same week as Longlegs because I feel like there's a lot of crossover.
Hmm.
Um, and while we'll talk about the convenience of Longlegs and how like everything ties together nicely, what are the odds that it's the mother and the daughter, and while that I think like there's a level of it's believable because it's supernatural, whereas this is just like this is too convenient. Like this was way worse in that factor.
Yeah.
Um, this felt like they didn't know how to wrap it up. Like this felt like there were too many cooks in the kitchen, or I don't know. Like this didn't feel like I had much direction. The character felt different as well. Like Maxine herself felt so different to her character in X. And like I know that she's just grown up and she's a different person than she was back then, and she's now a product of trauma and all that sort of stuff. But she doesn't come across as Maxine anymore. Like she felt, yeah, I don't really know. I
Okay.
was disappointed with this because I was, after watching X and somewhat liking it, I thought this would be pretty good, but ended up being very, very average.
Oh, I think I'm gonna have to watch X to and Pearl to get context and
Yeah, I want to see Pearl now, definitely.
to how this goes because I really liked Act One, did not like the rest of it. It was like, okay,
Yeah,
it was bizarre.
I agree.
So like
Act
looking
One
at
was intriguing because you're learning stuff about the characters and you're finding stuff out. And
yeah,
as a character at that point, Maxine's pretty interesting and she's doing some pretty interesting stuff.
yeah. Apparently most
And it
people are sad
becomes
about this one. So
sad.
yeah, they're saying Pearl X really good. This one unfortunately doesn't. Doesn't live up to him.
Yeah, it's from what I haven't seen Pearl, but from my perspective, just watching the X in this, 100% agree.
Yeah.
This
So
is
it's
very disappointing.
the weakest of the three.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Almost
Disappointing.
ruins the trilogy because like you can excuse it to a degree because I don't feel like you need this to like X ends well enough. You don't need a sequel.
Mhm.
I haven't seen Pearl to tie it together, but Pearl is set, 60 years away from X.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know where it all ties in, but it's still like if there's no if it's not necessary to have a sequel and the sequel's bad, it's still bad. Like it's still disappointing.
hmm Yeah. Disappointing. It's like a
Yeah,
1.5.
literally the same, 1.5.
Yeah.
It's yeah, the whole third act is just insane. And like they had certain opportunities for something decent and they end up just shoehorning some bullshit together and
Yep.
yeah, it's disappointing. It is. Like long
Yeah.
legs to a
They,
degree. Yeah.
they are. They missed out on that one. But, it is what it is. I doubt they'll get a
Quick
fourth one.
question.
Mm.
You've given long legs and flying to the moon a 3. Curious to know which one you put above the other.
I reckon long legs slightly above like 3.1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I'd probably watch long
Yeah, I think
legs
that's fair.
again before Fly Me to the Moon.
Yeah, I agree. For sure.
Like, yeah, I feel like I wouldn't get anything out of Fly Me to the Moon again.
No. And there was like more patches of boredom because
hmm
flying to the moon was pretty long.
Yeah. Where
Long legs was pretty tidy for
l- long
what
legs,
it was.
you could piece it all together on a second watch through and be like, oh, okay, that's got some symbolism
Hmm.
here and there. So,
Yeah, you're right. And I feel like there's more because there's more to it. It's definitely more rewatchable.
mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But
But yeah,
next
every
week
week.
is
Next week's 100 episode. Oh my god,
let's go. So we've got this
crazy.
the special for you. So it's going to be real fun. We're going to bring you our bottom 10, our top 10, and we'll have some arguments along the way. I'm pretty sure. Awesome, get some
Guaranteed.
sleep so that he will be able to bite at my jokes. And
Yeah, I'll be in a better mood.
mm,
I'll get more
mm,
sleep than I did last night.
yeah. But without further ado, that is all we got time for. So if you're on Spotify, give us a 5-star rating. Here on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends.
Tell your friends.
And we'll see you guys next time for the 100th episode. Bye.
Yes, love yous.